Hello everybody, how's it going? Welcome to a brand new Game Maker tutorial. Today we're creating a top-down shooter, or at least some of a top-down shooter. Maybe I'll do some more videos on more in-depth like enemy AI, more weapons, grenades, stuff like that. But today we're gonna make a player that can shoot. Pretty cool. So let's jump right in here. First things first, I'm gonna create a sprite. I'm gonna right click on sprite, hit create sprite, and I'm gonna call this SBR_player. I like to put the SBR on the front purely for organizational reasons. If I have a bunch of things in my code that just say player, I might not know if I'm talking about a sound or an object. So if I just put, whatever type of asset it is on the front, it's usually a lot better for coding in the future. So I'm going to hit edit sprite, and I'm going to create a new 32 by 32. I'm not much of an art guy, but I do what I can. So I'm gonna do good old rectangle because that is what I'm good at. Ooh, looking good. I'm actually gonna make it a little more like that. Perfect. That is our gorgeous player. High def, next gen graphics right there. Let's turn this player into an object really quick. I'm gonna create an object. I'm gonna call this obj_player, and I'm going to set the sprite to SBR player. Perfect. So what's the first thing we have to do? Well, I think the most important thing first is let's get some movement down. Let's get the player moving around in our room. So first things first, we're going to hit add event. We're going to add a create event, and we're going to go over to control and drag in some code. And the create event is run as soon as the object is created. That's why you tend to initialize variables inside the create event, because you tend to need them for the rest of your code, right from the start all the way to the end. So we're just going to create one variable, and I'm going to put SPD is equal to 4. So SPD stands for speed, and this is going to be your player's speed. If you want the player to move faster, you can make that number higher. If you want them slower, you can make that number lower. But I'm going to keep it at 4 for now. We'll play around, see how it goes. I'm going to hit check, and I'm going to add a step event. And this is the event we're going to be using for all our movement and our shooting and stuff. Now, why is that, you might be asking? Well, the step event is run every single frame. It's code that is constantly being checked. So things like our movement and stuff that we have to check for constantly tend to go in the step event. So in the step event, I'm going to put a comment, and you can do that by doing a double slash, and that allows you to type anything, by the way, so you can use that if you need to explain your code to someone. And I'm going to put // movement. So I know everything below here is my movement code. So below there, I'm just going to start off with the movement. So let's start off with moving left. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to say if keyboard_check, or I'm going to explain this in a second, ord a, then x minus equals speed. So let's talk about what I just wrote here. So what we have here is an if statement, and an if statement will check to see if something is true, and if it is true, then it's going to run some code. So in this case, we're checking to see if we're holding down the A key. And if we are holding down the A key, that means we want to move left, and we're going to subtract on the X. So by subtracting on the X, if the X goes left to right, if we subtract, we're going to go left. If we add, we're going to go right. Same goes with up and down. If we subtract, we're going to go up, and if we add, we're going to go down. So all this is doing is checking to see if we want to move left, and if we do, then it's going to move us left. So let's do that one more time down here. We're going to say if keyboard_check ord D to move right. We're going to say x plus equals speed. So this is going to, if we're holding down the right key, let's move right. We're going to do this 2 more times. Now we're going to go up if keyboard_check, check ord W. This is so we can move up. We're going to say y minus equals speed. We're going to subtract from y, and that's going to move us up. And if we go down a little more here, and we say if keyboard_check ord s, then y plus equals speed. Perfect. So first one here, we're going to move left. This one, we're going to move right. Oh, sorry, you want to move up? Let's move up. And let's go down. Perfect. That is 8 directional movement. Even though we only have 4 blocks of code here, we can move in 8 directions with this. So let's test it out. Let's create a new room. I'm gonna call mine, where's settings? Go to settings, you can rename the room. I'm gonna call mine rm underscore main. I'm gonna make the width 640 and the height 480 because that just tends to be a good size. I'm gonna go to objects here and I'm gonna place my player in the room. Let's also go to backgrounds and let's change the color to this kind of green color. You can make it background whatever you want, but I want my player to look like he's in a field. So if I hit check here, I'm gonna run the game and let's test it out. Let's see how it works. It's gonna take a sec here to compile, but once it does, we're gonna have a beautiful game. Definitely, oh, here we go. So there's our player, here's our room, and if I hit W, I'm moving up. I can move left, I can move diagonally, I can move in all these directions. So that is some basic movement. That is the basis of our top-down shooter. Now what's next? Well, we gotta do two main things. One, the player here has to be able to look wherever the mouse is, and the player is also going to be able to shoot at the mouse. So that's quite important. So let's get started on that right away. I'm going to go to the SBR player here, and if I hit center, that's going to center the object or center the sprite, and that way it rotates on the center of it and not off in like the top left corner. It's just going to look a lot nicer that way. So if I go to OBJ player, and in the step event, I'm going to put all in the bottom here, I'm going to do / mouse look. And mouse look is just one line of code. We're going to say image underscore angle equals point underscore direction x, y, mouse underscore x, mouse underscore y. And all that's going to do, whoops, let me make this bigger for you guys. All this is going to do is this is going to set our image angle to wherever the mouse is. Now this isn't complete yet, and I'll show you why. So if we go into our player here, and I take a darker blue, and let's say this here, let's say that is the gun. Let's make that a bit bigger actually. If this is our gun here, or that's our head of the player, that's where the player is looking. If we hit play, you're going to see what the problem is in a second here. Unless GameMaker has patched it, and I don't think they have. Oh, no, you know what? We're good. So in this case, we're good. Here's a slight glitch though. If your sprite, so if your gun is up here, you are going to have to rotate it a bit. So if your gun is up here instead of off to the side there, you can easily change that. You can make it look like it's correct. Whoops. By going to the step event and subtracting 90. Now most of you won't have any idea what this means, but the people who will have this problem will understand what's going on. So basically, make sure your player is facing right, and if he's not, you might have to subtract some numbers to try and get the rotation just right. Anyways, let's ignore that. Let's create a new sprite. I'm gonna, oh, no, I don't want a new one. I want to create a new, yeah, there we go. I'm gonna call this SBR underscore bullet, and I'm gonna hit edit sprite, and I'm gonna create a new 16 by 16 sprite. This is gonna be our little bullet. 16, that's pretty big, but it'll do. Nice little basic square. Looking good, looking fine. Let's turn that into an object. Let me call this obj underscore bullet. And I'm going to set the sprite to SBR bullet. And in the OBJ player, we're going to add an event. We're going to add a mouse, global mouse, left pressed. And what that's going to do is that's going to check to see if we've pressed the mouse. And if we have, well then, of course, we want to shoot. So how do we shoot? Well, I'm going to say B is equal to instance underscore create xy obj underscore bullet. B dot direction is equal to point underscore direction xy mouse underscore x mouse underscore y, and I'm going to say b dot speed is equal to 10. So what's going on here? Well, when we click the left press, when we've clicked the button, we're going to create a new bullet. We're going to set that bullet to move towards where the mouse is, and then we're going to set the speed to 10. So if I hit check, and I hit check, and I hit play, you're going to see here that we're going to be able to shoot the bullet. As soon as it compiles, we're almost there. Come on, we're almost there. So there's our player, and I can click, and you can see that the bullet is moving towards our mouse. Now it's not looking much like an FPS. Now let's go change some things. Not an FPS, top-down shooter. Let's center this, because that always looks nice. I'm actually going to resize mine. I'm going to stretch mine down to half the size, so it's 8 by 8. I'm going to hit check, check, hit save. And so now that's going to look a little nicer. I'm also going to set the speed to be a little faster. I'm going to set the speed to be 15, let's say. So let's hit run and let's see if this looks more like a first-person shooter. I keep saying first-person shooter. I'm just, sorry guys. Top-down shooter. Drag this over here. And I can click. That's looking pretty good. You can multiple click. We can move around and we can shoot. So very basic. That's actually quite the basis of quite a good game. You can have zombies coming up and doing their thing. And it's looking good. Now what we're going to do is, this is a bonus feature here. I'm going to hit X. And we're going to make a cursor. We're going to make a cool little cursor that looks a bit more like a target. A bit more of a top-down shooter feel. So let's create a new sprite. I'm going to call this SBR_cursor. And I'm going to hit edit. And I'm going to create a new 15 by 15 sprite. Perfect. So let's pop in here. And I'm going to take a gray color. And I'm going to make, that's not it. I'm going to make like a little target. No. There you go. And I'm going to take it out. So as you can see, we've got like a little, what's the word I'm looking for? A little pointer. I don't really know what I'm trying to call this. But it's very basic, but it can make a huge difference in your game. It can completely change the feel of it. You know, it's all about the cursor. So let's center this, because why not? And I'm going to hit OK. And let's create an object, and I'm going to call this obj_cursor. And I'm going to set the sprite to be SBR_cursor. And I'm going to add a step event. I'm going to go to control and drag in some code. And I'm going to say x is equal to mouse_x, and y is equal to mouse_y. Now what this is going to do is this is going to lock our object here to wherever the mouse is in the game. So that's almost done. There's one thing we have to do, and we have to make sure that this mouse, we can't see this mouse. We can only see this one. So if we go to global game settings, and this boots up here, we can go to Windows, and there's a little thing in the options here that says display the cursor. Uncheck that. And if you want HTML5, you'll have to uncheck it there as well. And I think that's it for these. But yeah, so uncheck display the cursor, and that way all we're going to see is this little guy right here. So let's hit check. And let's see how this runs. Here we go. Any second here. And so here you can see, oh, I cannot see my cursor. Now my question is, why is that? Oh, ha! Oh my god, I'm a goof. We have to go to objects here, and we've got to place the cursor in the room. Oh my, I can't believe I forgot that. I am a mess. That was messy. And as you can see here, now we have our little target cursor. But guys, this was a basic first person, I keep saying that, I'm so sorry. This was a basic top-down shooter. If you guys enjoyed this, let me know, and I'll make some advanced ones. Maybe we create snipers and pistols and grenades and enemy AI and all that good stuff. But let me know. I hope you guys enjoyed this short tutorial. I will talk to you all later. It's been a pleasure getting to teach you guys. Happy deving.